B1 brothers and sisters, welcome to BlackLogic. So this morning, early morning, we're going to talk about the Fani Willis trial. This is the amount of time we're going to divulge into this. I know you guys is up late. I'm trying to get this good information that I'm going to break down because I really want to talk about how the recent controversy surrounded the district attorney of Fulton County, Fani Willis, right? And her entanglement with a co-worker, Nathan Wade, that has sent, shockwaves through the legal community. And it all started when Willis made headlines for her efforts to prosecute former President Donald Trump. Anytime you're trying to prosecute a former president, probably the first time in history, you would think that you would have all your ducks in a row. She brought forth numerous accusations against Trump, claiming he had committed various crimes during his time in office. But however, as the case unfolded, Trump's lawyers began to dig into her past and uncover some information that is now blasted and basically blew up the whole entire internet. It turns out that Willis had been involved in a romantic relationship with Nathan Wade, who was a co-worker, who was a subordinate under her, essentially. And during the court case, she's talking about, oh, he never really looked at himself as under me. Well, you hired him, you're the boss. And these raise concerns about the impartiality and raise questions about her true motivations behind the case against Trump. And you're going to hear, you guys already probably seen a lot of short clips that she was lonely and he was there, kind of one of those things. And that's how a lot of those relationships and improprieties actually work, when you have these jobs where you spend large amounts of time with a particular person. And I know there's some drama around who was married, was they married, what timeline, was it November 1st of this year and that year. So all this drama played out, but it became clear that the lines between the personal and the professional have been blurred, and the integrity of the legal system was called into question. And this case serves as a reminder, of the importance of transparency and ethics in the justice systems and all, and not just in Fulton County, family, also in United States justice systems, right? This doesn't mean that this only happened in Fulton County in Georgia. It happens everywhere, and these things need to be broken down analytically with a fine-tooth comb. And the need for accountability at all levels of government is important. And I think those are the things that we need to break down here this morning. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips here. We're going to break down a couple of things just so you guys can see and how I looked at things, her attitude, the way she answered things, her body position, her body language. Now, I'm no body language expert, but you and I know that when people respond to certain questions a certain way, are they really looking for the right answer, or are they looking to finagle their way out of the question? And don't forget, she is a DA, she is a district attorney. And Nathan Wade is also a very intelligent and powerful attorney. So they know how to navigate these spaces, okay? So let's dive into this very quickly. I want you guys to hear when she was asked a particular question. Here we go.
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my question was, do you have any proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid for any of these monies.
The proof is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than,
fair use.
I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written proof.
We can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises,
Judge, I asked if she gave him written proof.
We're not going to talk over that. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, now, so you can ask the next question. Ms. Millis.
The thing that I want to point out here is that her attitude, her body language, right? You can't ask me nothing. And she even made a statement that she is not on trial. That's one of the statements that she essentially made. And she is on trial, right? This trial, this case is to excuse her from the case of prosecuting Donald Trump. Why is that significant? Either she has enough information or she's very intelligent in the way she handles, whatever lawyers do to prosecute people. They want to get her off this case for whatever reason. That is the reason why she dived into her background and found improprieties. They found out ethics code violations. And not only her being excused from this case is at jeopardy, but guess what else is at jeopardy? Her job. Her job, because they're exposing ethical and moral violations that she had an improper relationship with a coworker who being as a subordinate in Nathan Wade. But let me tell you, now you would think that she would handle her personality, but I think she thinks she's this big boss babe, Fani Willis, the mammy. She thinks that she's in charge of all of these things. Now she giving you this kind of sister girl act. Now she want to be black. And then her father, which a father should do, gets on the stand and defends her about the money that she had locked in her house. And that was all this cross and double talk and word salad. Oh, well, my dad always told me that you should keep this amount of money, which is true to a certain degree, family. Let's be real. Okay, let's just be real. Because even when my wife first met me, she was like, babe, why you got all this money in the safe? And listen, my mom died when I was 12. I never knew my dad. So no one ever told me to keep money, actual hard cash on hand. That's just something I do, just in case. People are like, what is just in case? I don't know, just in case. But the reason why Nathan Wade, and this is my conjecture, this is my opinion, the reason why Nathan Wade and Fani Willis made sure that their stories were airtight is because you cannot trace money. And this is why they were asking questions like, how did you make your money? Well, how much money did you save up? How did you save up that money? It was asking all these particular questions. And I think these are the things that are important because, again, these Trump lawyers are skillful as well. But let me tell you, Fani Willis is not a dumb woman. She's very intelligent. She didn't make DA just off her, I guess, when she was younger, her good looks. But I'm not speaking about that, family. Okay, I'm not speaking about that. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to let you clarify your answers when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had.
I probably paid
cash,
through.
You still had that lien in
through however you pay.
Dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay the tax lien off.
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
This is not relevant.
Hey, I don't really mean to laugh. I know this is very serious. I mean, this is serious, family, because we're talking about a district attorney that is trying to prosecute a former president. Now, you would think that this would be at the Department of Justice, this would be at Homeland Security on a very federal level, but no, a district attorney from a county in Georgia is trying to prosecute the president of the United States. Make that make sense, okay? And this is what my belief is. I believe she's doing the bidding of her white paymasters of the Democratic Party to prosecute Donald Trump. That is my take on this. And some of you may disagree. And I'm not putting on the cape for Donald Trump. I'm definitely not gonna put on the cape for Fani Willis. We're just trying to break this down because we have to understand everything that's going on with this election, why they don't want Donald Trump to be president again, and why they're trying to keep the commander in chief or the senile commander or the white supremacists allegedly Joe Biden to stay in office, because I want you to picture this. You have a high profile prosecutor entangled in a web of drama with a co-worker, Nathan Wade. And this is not an ordinary office romance. This is a relationship that has been kept under wraps while they're supposed to be focused on upholding justice. And here's another thing. A friend of Fani Willis actually went on the stand and spilled the beans. Like, no, their relationship was way before November 1st, 2000, whatever the date was, okay? And a lot of these dates, when it comes to court cases, are important, but not for this particular broadcast, because what type of friend, what falling out did you guys have where your friend is now snitching on you? Because here's my thing, and I spoke to my wife about this, family. I said, if I have a falling out with a friend and I know information that could disrupt their well-being or their status or other relationships, that's not my place. The dirt that you told me, hey, it's safe, we're just not friends anymore, we don't have any communication, that's fine. I'm just gonna keep it G. That's just how I am, okay? But see, when I think about Fani Willis, she is not just any old prosecutor. She's the same woman, okay? And I'm painting a picture for people coming inside the room, who has been leading the charge to prosecute the former President Donald Trump, okay? That's what we're talking about. And we've been throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Trump. When you look at it, everybody's been trying to prosecute Trump for tax evasion, filling women on their pussy, you name it. And some of the things he's actually admitted to. But I digress. I already did a video on Donald Trump. You guys can check that out and unsubscribe like some people did, because they hate for someone to be very unbiased. Okay, I'm very neutral, family. I'm not part of these political parties. This is about the truth. Okay, this is about the truth. But also, what this is mainly about is accusing him of everything from financial crimes, of overflating his business residual values, to election interference, okay? And she's been on a crusade to hold him accountable using every legal avenue available. But this is what happens. The tables turn. Trump's legal team decide to dig deep into Willis' past, and what do they find? Just a little something about her cozy relationship with a colleague named Nathan Wade. And guess what? They allege that she financially benefited from the relationship. Okay, but this is the way I take on it. You guys saw the title. She got laid, he got paid, and taxpayers got played. Because if you really looked at the entire when she took the stand, if you looked at the entire thing, even Nathan Wade's part, which is about I think an hour or so, you would start to see that the Trump lawyers are really trying to find who paid what and how they paid it and where the money came from, okay? And basically, and I'll give it to you in a nutshell, Fani Willis said that Nathan Wade got paid for work rendered. He worked a lot of overtime, so everything was above board. Everything was legal, okay? So when we talk about these legal implications, you have to look at things on a state law level, on a federal law level, you name it. There are all sorts of regulations and codes of conduct that govern the behavior of public officials. And a lot of these public officials, including police officers, not all family, not all public officials, not all legislators, not all politicians, not all law enforcement. A lot of them, though, believe that they are above the law because they are the lawmakers or they are the law enforcement, okay? So when you have people who are in positions like Fani Willis, they're in positions of great power. So when allegations of misconduct surface, it's just not a personal matter anymore. It's a matter of public trust and accountability. And when you take her attitude into accountability, she has this, I'm a boss, bitch. You can't tell me nothing. I'm not on trial. You guys on trial. Well, no, you are on trial, Fani. Fani the mammy, you are on trial. So you can't act like I'm the boss bitch of the Donald Trump prosecution. And I'm gonna tell down the former president. And again, I'm not putting the cape on for him, family. I'm just stating, you don't have your ducks in a row. That's like me going through a midlife crisis. I end up wanting to be a lawyer. Then I'm want to do a high profile case. All my ducks are not in a row. You come into my past like, well, he did this and did that. Look, I will be destroyed. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Well, for starters, it's a stark reminder that nobody is immune to scrutiny. And she opened up Pandora's box, okay? Sometimes when you trying to be what's the position in the federal government? I forgot the name of it. It's that not Supreme Court justice. It's another position that's a legal term that a president can appoint you. Maybe she was trying to get that position. I forgot the name of it. But you're not immune from scrutiny. You're not immune from the law yourself. And this proves a particular point, because anytime that the system of white supremacy uses one of our Black women, uses one of our Black men, just understand they can put you in the position and they can take you from that position. And just because they hand you a case doesn't mean that you have to take it like, no, I'm gonna leave that one alone because I got a couple of skeletons in the closet. Because when I think about this, it's a cautionary tale, family, about the perils of mixing personal and professional life, especially when you're in the spotlight of the United States of America. And as for the case against Trump, well, you guys seen that they slapped him with a $355 million fine, which of course they're trying to appeal, okay? But it's a whole can of worms. But one thing's for sure, when the legal drama unfolds, it's not just about who's right or who's wrong, it's about the integrity of the legal system itself, okay? And we're gonna watch this a little bit more of this because I think her attitude here tells me a lot about this. I see Royalty 22 in the room. I see you showing up for the broadcast, brothers. You're working your way to a moderator. I appreciate your support. Royalty states here that Black prosecutors are disgusting, okay? Black prosecutors are disgusting, have a low license just to be a lawyer. I mean, that's really a good point that he's making. He also stated that I give an excellent observation. I appreciate that. Let's look at a little bit more about this attitude. That's what I'm focused on.
Trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right.
You know, hold on. That's speculation.
You had a tax lien in 20.
That's speculation, right? That's speculation. She's saying, I'm trying to prove that she didn't have these large sums of money, right? And here's the thing. You and I know both. You can have a mortgage, you can have a car loan, and you can still have $10,000 in the bank. You can have credit card debt, and you can still have $10,000 in your safe. Because a lot of times people would rather have money on hand, money in the bank account versus paying off their credit card, paying off their student loan, paying off their student loan, college loan, same thing, paying off their houses, whatever. People would rather have cash on hand because you just never know when an emergency may occur. So her trying to prove that she didn't have these large sum of cash is going to be virtually impossible unless she can trip up Fani Willis into a timeline and a salary, and because Fani Willis said she was in financial hardship for quite an amount of time. Well, how did you accumulate this money and paying your bills and saving this amount of money? But again, you're dealing with a district attorney, you're not dealing with a big dummy. Now, in retrospect, I think the way that Fani Willis handled herself was stupid, right? You up here with the Malcolm X, like you're in a position of power and you can't believe you're on trial. She's almost acting like she's Julius Caesar or she's, listen, there's a way to handle things. You can be very polite, you can be very willing and still be telling lies. But the public is going to take it differently than when you were like, well, you can't tell me nothing. I'm not even on trial. What the hell you got me up here for? You can't prove nothing. My story is airtight. tight. I'm trying to tell you, family, this is not the way to handle things. Be very humble, very meek. And listen, if you're trying to get out of something and nobody can prove it, then lie. Hey, here's the thing about going to court. I'm not telling anyone to lie when you go to court. I wouldn't do that. But the court has to prove whatever the allegations are. That's all I'm saying. Let's dive back into this.
2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No. I went shopping too when I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Fani Willis, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them 2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to.
I think it's already come up that finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Willis, you can continue your answer.
What came up with Mr. Wade as a case?
Now, something I want to point out here, and this goes for everybody, not just my beautiful Black women, not just for women in general. Anytime that you're on trial and you're trying to be, she's trying to be excused from the Donald Trump's prosecution of overinflating his properties, as well as election tampering, of all sorts of other crimes, probably all these allegations I broke down in another broadcast. But there's just a manner in which you shall hold your personality under wraps. Because if you a boss B, but you're on trial, this is something large, because I think a lot of people are not understanding that she can lose her job from this. She can lose her job from this. The mayor, whoever has the authority and power to fire her, they can do that. Now, here's a clip that Nathaniel Wade, they was asking him questions. I want you to look at this gentleman's demeanor and how he handles this. And this is what I'm referring to, okay? This is what I'm referring to.
Correct.
No, ma'am. I think that, are you drawing a distinction for her paying for a flight or for her actually booking a flight? Because those are 2 separate things.
I will re-ask it. The affidavit you filed in this court, you alleged that Ms. Willis paid for one flight. Paid for one flight, correct?
No, ma'am.
You did not allege she paid for one flight.
No, ma'am. What I allege is that our travel was split roughly evenly.
Come on, brother. Don't start stuttering. That looks bad.
I have booked the flight, or I've paid for a flight with my credit card. What you don't see is that she covered her own flight reimbursement to me. The flights that you see here are the flights that she would have booked with her own resources, with her own cost.
And there's one flight, correct?
One flight reflecting that she actually booked.
Ms. Merchant, let him finish and then you can redirect him.
One flight that she actually booked, yes. The other flights I booked, she paid for.
So the affidavit, you submitted one flight that she booked and paid for.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the phrasing of that question. The line in the affidavit is not as Ms. Merchant is representing it. It said examples of the district attorney.
Yeah, drink up, brother. Drink up.
Plane tickets for she and I with her personal funds were attached as an exhibit. It certainly did not represent that it was the only example of the district attorney purchasing flights for Mr. Wade or for compensating other travel.
All right, understand, Ms. Cross. I think that's something you can, it's now on the record, but also something you can take on cross.
And just so everybody is clear, all I asked you is your affidavit, you submitted proof of one flight that she paid for and booked. That's all I'm asking. Correct?
With the explanation, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All I needed. You said.
All right, there's something I want to point out here very quickly, family. Now, you see, other than him stuttering and trying to get his lies, trying to get his story correct. I didn't mean lies, family. I didn't mean lies. But as we comb through this, you see how he's been very respectful. He's been very calm. He's been very opposite of Fani Willis, because she is the boss babe. She's the boss bitch, right? So she has a certain demeanor. And I really want to point back to that comment that, oh, I am not on trial. He is, or they are. You are on trial. You're on trial to be excused from prosecuting the former president of the United States of America, which is the biggest high profile case in the entire world, especially on a low level, on a low state level from a district attorney of a county, okay? Not the district attorney of the state of Georgia, but the district attorney of Fulton County. You see the economy there? So when we look at these things, I cannot believe that one, she took the case. Two, she didn't think that they would reverse and go inside of her background and find any impropriety, any allegation, anything immoral, anything unethical, and not try to, one, prosecute her, two, excuse her from the trial. Because when you look at these two lawyers, they've already admitted that they had relations. Okay, so now Trump's lawyers are trying to establish a timeline, and they're trying to establish, well, you had pro quo by hiring Nathan Wade, then you was having relations with him, then you were overpaying Nathan Wade, and you benefited from it because you guys went on cruises, you guys went on trips, you guys did all these things. I just can't understand, how can you have this sort of attitude on, one of the high profile cases in the entire world. Everybody looks at America as big brother. And I just can't believe this. And again, family, we cannot allow the system of white supremacy to use us as tools, because when they're finished with us, they destroy us. You get what I'm trying to say? There's something, you just have to let some things just go. You just have to. I don't care what position you're in.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this roughly sharing travel, you're saying she reimbursed you.
She did.
And where did you deposit the money she reimbursed you?
Oh, it was cash. She didn't give me any checks.
So she paid you cash for her share of all these vacations.
Mr. Schaefer, you'll step out if you do that again.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so all of the vacations that she took, she paid you cash for.
Yes, ma'am.
And you purchased all of these vacations on your business credit card, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you included those in deductions on your taxes, correct?
No, ma'am.
No, you did not.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
We'll get to that.
Let me just say this. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna let it play a little bit longer, but I want you guys to point out something very important here. There's a major point that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis is trying to be airtight on, and that is the use of cash, because cash and certain things can't be traced. Well, what can be traced on is how you made that cash. But Fani Willis, dad could have came on the stand and stated, well, I gave my daughter a $10,000 love gift, right? People give money as gift. People find money. All the money that you've accumulated over your life can't necessarily be tracked down to every single red cent. It's damn near impossible. So by them stating that, hey, I paid for the vacations on my business credit card, but she then paid me back in cash, kind of throws out the impropriety or the beneficiary pro quo. So those things they're really trying to negate in this trial and trying to trip up the Trump lawyers. So these are things that they're being very skillful on. And again, the only thing, in my opinion, was the testimony of Fani Willis and the way she handled herself. Nathan Wade, again, besides his stumbling a little bit and him stuttering a little bit, I don't know if that's natural for him. But other than that, he's been very respectful. He has clarified a couple of things, but the way he's going about it is very gentle, is very personal, is very accepting versus Fani Willis. And that is why the attention, not only because Fani Willis is the DA, is because the way she handled it. It's the way that she handled it, family. You don't handle things the way she did. Like nothing, no one can touch you. You're just the district attorney of a county. Come on. Now in Fulton County, you may be it, but we're talking about you prosecuting the United States of America former president. That's what we're talking about. Royalty says so true. Democrats not defending her. No one's putting on the case for Fani Willis. After her testimony, no one's putting on the case. Let's listen in.
And just a minute then. Let's see. So the only thing that you have actual documentary proof, not cash, is this one receipt that you attached to the affidavit. Is that correct?
Your Honor, I object to that question. That is a mischaracterization of the assertion that is in the affidavit.
I'm asking.
So then he can deny it. I think he can defend for himself. Ms. Merchant.
Is this the only written proof that you have of a trip she paid for?
Oh, she's very animated.
That I have?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you submitted the one piece of written evidence that you have that she paid for something. Everything else is in cash. Is that accurate?
No.
That's not accurate. Okay. Please tell me, what other receipts do you have then that show that she paid for things?
I don't have them.
Okay. So this is the only receipt that you have to show that she paid for travel.
That I have. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. In your divorce case, you filed
that sort of thank you from the prosecutor. I'm just gonna call her a prosecutor. That sort of attitude, the way she was like, that's the only receipt that you have that she paid X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay, thank you. Well, family, you have to prove that she didn't. You have to prove that she didn't pay him back, and that these funds were coming from the state of Georgia or from the the taxpayers of Fulton County. And there's some sort of fraud, there's some sort of overpayment. You have to prove those things. So you can't just willy-nilly and say, okay, thank you. You can't prove that she paid you back on all these other accounts of all these other vacations and overpayments and extra hours, even though you're on salary. Well, as a prosecutor, you have to prove that she didn't. So that doesn't prove a point, but that's the way she kind of came off. Don't do that. We're gonna move to another clip, family. I think that was pertinent to point out. I really wanted to show you guys how Nathan Wade handled him being questioned by the prosecutor of Trump lawyers, okay? So let me stop here real quick. Family, if you guys have any comments, make sure you put that in the chat. If you're new to BlackLogic, where we systematically and analytically break down politics in a major way and Black empowerment, please give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media, and subscribe to the channel, family. Okay? Let me go here. We got one more clip that we're gonna load up here very quickly, okay? And these are some of the top moments of the Fani Willis trial, okay? Here we go.
2019 judges conference.
He hasn't gotten to the point where Ms. Willis should be treated hostile in this case.
I think we have.
I very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not
here.
so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant.
Now, she stated that she is not a hostile witness, but family, I saw the trial live, and believe me, this is kind of why I waited to kind of really gather my thoughts about it and give you guys some context and look at it from a different perspective. Of course, the court reporter, the person who records everything and types everything down, and people are going to really listen in. But I kind of look at the way she responded. I kind of looking at her facial expressions, her body language, because people can tell you a lot about her body language. Now, looking at this very quickly right here, and this could be a bad moment, okay? Again, this is my own conjecture. Does she look like a woman who's worried? Does she look like a woman who's worried? Let me tell you, she looks worried. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
A Fulton County district attorney in charge of criminally prosecuting former President Donald Trump for interference in the 2020 election shockingly took the stand during a hearing in the case. Fani Willis had sought to avoid testifying about the allegation she was in a romantic relationship with the special prosecutor she assigned to the Trump case. But in an about face, she stormed into the courtroom and she insisted that she testify.
Please give me the time period. That
Mr. Wade visits you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes.
The Fulton County District Attorney made headlines when she brought RICO charges against the former president and more than a dozen of his campaign staff. In an extraordinary moment, Willis marched into the Atlanta courtroom while attorneys were arguing over whether she should be forced to testify. As she approached the prosecutor's table in court, she looked before the judge, and as the entire gallery watched, she uttered 4 simple words: "I'm ready to go."
I would ask, I need 3 documents in front of me, and they're the 3 filings of Ms. Merchant.
3 filings.
She looks very angry. Doesn't she look very angry? You know what?
Does anyone
You know
have
what,
the 3
family?
filings of Ms.
Let me do this very quickly. Let me just give you my take on it. I can understand her being upset. I can understand her being a bit emotional, right? And of course, everybody takes things differently. Everybody responds differently. But you had to know that something like this was coming. You had to know that something like this could happen. Being a district attorney, trying to prosecute the former president of the most powerful country in the world. You just had to know. And when it came to the table, you should have not allowed your emotions to fester up where you're coming in there, you're storming in the courtroom like you own the courtroom. No, you don't own the courtroom. You're on trial. Again, I just think she handled it so wrong. And what people don't understand, on such a high-profile case like this, people are not just looking at Fani Willis, the DA of Fulton County. They're not just looking at a Black woman in the position of power and influence. They're looking at Black people. Some of you may disagree, but I'm telling you, living in a system of white supremacy, looking at people who look at a monolithic sort of view of Black people, they're going to see one Black person and judge us all and say, this is how they are. She could be innocent, but they're going to say she's guilty. And everything is leading up to her being guilty, her being excused from the prosecution of former President Donald Trump. This is what I'm getting at. See, when you're on a stage, it should just be your characterization, the way people view your character and the way you respond. But that's not the country we live in. This is not the world we live in. When one foundational Black American responds to something negatively, and everybody can see that it could have been handled better, this is how they view majority of us. And you would think that's my conjecture. How about this? This is my personal experience, which is the truth for me.
The court have the 3 filings of Ms. Merchant.
When you say the filings, you mean like the pleadings?
The pleadings, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I think we should locate those for you and supplemental.
Look at her.
I want the one filed on January the 8th, the one filed immediately after we filed ours, and the final one.
If you want to take a break to get them, I can make a copy. I think we have one.
You know, the only copy I have is going to have my notes on it. So if we don't have a clean copy,
We have a 5-minute break, Your Honor.
Let's
I'll get
take
the documents.
all right.
I'll sit here and wait for him.
Fair use, fair use. I just want you guys to keep looking at her, family.
Defense attorneys asked Willis to clear up the timeline of when she hired Wade, as they argue Willis hired him after the two were involved in a romantic relationship.
Let's start back in 2019.
Yeah.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions, you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive. I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher.
Okay, that point right there, right? So what I've witnessed and noticed in the questioning when Fani Willis was on trial, was being questioned, she continued to talk outside of the question. Analysts, specialists, experts will always tell you people who tend to expand more so to deflect or derail the initial question is lying. They will tell you that. You don't need a lie detector test. You don't need all these probes and sensors on you. When you start to expand and go outside the confines and the question itself, people start to tell you, you sound like you're lying. It's like, hey, BlackLogic, was you at Club Milan last night between 9 and 10? Well, I mean, what do you mean between 9 and 10? What time zone? Because there's all these different time zones in America. You have Mountain Zone, Central Time, East. You see what I'm saying? Like, just answer the damn question. And see, that's what I mean, that she has this boss babe, I'm in charge, even though I'm on trial, and using her intelligence of the law at the same time. But it backfired. Even MSNBC came out and said, Fani Willis, when she was on trial, it didn't look good. And then the very next day they came out and defended her. But, that's MSNBC. They don't know. Royalty said she was nervous and hand was shaking. Yeah. Because family, as I told you, this is not just about her being excused from the Donald Trump trial. This is about her job as we know it.
True. I did not meet him when he taught the class. I was standing outside talking to Lisa Reeves, who is a judge. Me and her were just having a conversation. Mr. Wade walks up. I think they hug each other. They have some brief conversation. She introduces us.
But Robin Yurdy, Willis's old college friend, told the court earlier the romantic relationship began in October of 2019. Willis previously lived in Yurdy's condo prior to their fallout, and the defense hammered her on whether Wade visited the condo prior to the election interference case. But Willis fired back, asserting the defense accusations were all lies.
How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to? That's one lie you told in your document. No,
Judge, I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question.
You see what I'm talking about? The prosecutor, I didn't even answer that. Why is she even giving that information? And you guys saw that quick clip that they were talking about her friend. Okay, they were talking about her friend, and that's not her friend. I don't even know why that news channel is like her friends. They're not friends if she's on trial snitching. Okay, no friend of mine, no friend of yours, I assure you.
Question. I think she's saying and answering that he did not live with her. So why don't we break that up into smaller parts?
And I didn't ask about living.
But you put in while we're talking about professionalism, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents. He lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
And filed that with the court.
In 2019.
He's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton. He has never been to my residence in 2019, ever, not once.
In 2019, he's never been to your residence, any place.
I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here, a house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there. But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020, let alone live with me, as you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3 months of 2021, when I could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
Then it came time to question.
Okay, so whatever document she had in front of her that she wanted to reference from, and that the prosecutor didn't even ask her, again, you can put yourself further and farther into trouble and give the prosecutors more information to dive into. This answer the question. No, Mr. Wade never visited my home in Fulton County in 2019. And just be quiet. Don't even say next question, right? Because again, all this attitude, all this personality, all these, listen, it's just a bunch of mess that she made herself look guilty in, okay? And she gonna get excused. Family, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna put my shoe in my mouth, okay? But I think she's gonna get excused, okay? And I'm gonna go off on a limb. And not that I say that I want her to lose her job or her position, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna lose her job within the next year. She's gonna lose her job in the next year because, again, you go after a high-profile candidate, former President Donald Trump, and you think they're not gonna dive into your past. You think they're not gonna try to find some dirt. They comb through her tax returns, every place that she lived, every job position that she had, every single person that they knew that she had a relationship with. And that's how they had the friend, quote unquote, so-called friend, that came out and said, oh no, her and Nathan, they was having sex and having a relationship before 2020, before October, or after they met in October of 2019. The prosecutor said, well, how do you know that? What did you see that can prove that statement? Oh, they was hugging and kissing. Yeah, I saw that. That's no friend. Derek Hill says she's one of those funny-faced light skinners. I ain't messing with you, Derek. I ain't messing with you, man. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe, like this video. We talk about everything in Black empowerment, politics, and I'm very neutral, family. I'm very neutral. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent, but I do have that way people can be very confused what I'm about to say. I do have a very conservative, liberal outlook on life. But let's get back into this clip.
Willis about the vacations the two took together and who paid for the trips.
Talk about, you said that sometimes you paid Miss Yurdi cash. When you went on vacation with Mr. Wade, let's just go one by one. Let's start with the first one. What's the first time you went on vacation with Mr. Wade?
I think the first time we went on vacation was around April of 22, and it's a vacation is a stretch, but I'm trying to be comprehensive. I recall April of 22. His birthday is March the 18th. So that would have been his 49th birthday. I took him to Tennessee for the day. I think we went to a museum. I think we might have stayed the night. I'm not sure, but Tennessee's kind of hard to call a vacation, but I just am trying to be inclusive. And
what is she talking about? You see what I'm saying, family? Is this a lot of double talk and triple talk? And I wouldn't call Tennessee a vacation. Some people go to Tennessee on vacation. Some people go visit Nashville. If you took the brother on vacation for his birthday, right? Because some people say, yeah, girl, he took me to the Bahamas for my birthday. That's a vacation. It's a celebration of your birthday, but it's vacation. But I'll be comprehensive. I'll be easygoing. That's what she basically said. I'll be easygoing and talking about if this was a vacation or not. Fani Willis' sister, just answer the damn question. Okay? Now, if she's mislabeling things that can trip you up later on, then do that. Okay? I'm not saying you have to be overly accepting, overly nice, but you don't have to add so much context to a point where prosecutors can then analyze and define and trip you up. I'm trying to tell you, this is how they get you when you start talking too goddamn much. Just answer the damn question.
I know it wasn't more than a day.
So you're gonna spend the night?
I think that we did. That's what I'm telling you. I think that there's a possibility that we stayed that night in April of 22.
Who paid for the hotel?
I think I did. It was his birthday.
When did you start dating?
When I started dating Mr. Wade, it was right around then.
April 2020?
22, yes.
2022.
It was around then. I don't know, it's not like when you're in grade school and you send a little letter and it says, will you be my girlfriend? And you
Why? See?
I don't know.
See? Family, I'm gonna help you guys out. I've never been on, up on charges, nothing like that. But one thing I have a brain. Okay, and I'm going to use it. She's trying to belittle the prosecutor. That doesn't look right in the public light, because it doesn't matter what color you are, just answer the damn question. She's asking you, when did you start to date Nathan Wade? I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was in 2022. Well, do you know what month it was in? I don't recall exactly, but I believe it was in November of 2022. The end. That's it. Oh, it's not like we in grade school and we pass a little note around on this date and this time we started a relationship. Why? There's no need to be that belittling of the prosecutor, even though the only reason why you're being prosecuted is because you're trying to prosecute a former president. But again, you had to know they wasn't just going to tuck their tail and run. They were going to find something, okay? And you're going to have to defend yourself. And this is not a good defense, District Attorney.
That we started seeing each other, but it was early 22 is my recollection.
Okay, early 22. And you all went to Florida on vacation as well?
I don't recall going to Florida on vacation.
There you go.
You never went to Florida with Mr. Wade?
When we went to get on the cruise ship, we went to Miami.
Okay, that's the only time. You went
That's
to
Florida.
I think we went
Annie.
to Miami and spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we spent one night so that we wouldn't miss the ship. That's my recollection.
That's not the question.
Okay, for that.
That's not the question. You see what I'm saying? She keeps saying that I think we spent one night. No, that wasn't a question. Did you guys go on vacation in Florida? I believe we went on vacation in Florida, in Miami or whatever. But, I think we spent one night. Too much information. I always tell people this: the more information that you give people, the more damage they can do with it.
In Miami? I don't remember that.
And how'd you get to Miami?
We would have flown. And we've done that, so that I'm clear. We've done that twice.
We would have flown. Here's my thing. I don't recall how I got to Miami. I know that we was in Miami, but I don't recall how I got there. It was X amount of years ago. So you're telling me it's 2024 or 2 years ago, you don't know how you got to Miami. I said, no, I don't recall. Maybe I flew, maybe I took a train, maybe I drove. I just don't recall. Where have you drove? And some people say, well, when you do that, they can ask all these other questions. Hey, listen, I don't recall. I don't remember. Is a friend. Ask Donald Trump, ask Joe Biden. They both have stated that they don't remember or don't recall something. And they were like, next question.
One time we stayed, and I honestly can't tell you, did we stay when the ship left or did we stay when the ship came back? I also can't tell you. So there's 2 cruises out of Miami.
See?
There's one that's in that October time period that was with his mom.
She's giving more information than the prosecutor is asking. She didn't ask you how many vacations did you have in Florida and what parts of Florida. You see what I'm saying? I'm just, again, analytically, we need to comb through these things because we're saying how she's kicking her own self in the ass.
And then there was another that was a New Year's Eve trip. I know I paid for the New Year's Eve trip because the tickets were $697 each. And I thought this is ridiculous that the tickets are $700 to go to Miami. But when you travel during New Year's Eve, they get you.
So let's just back up and talk about the first time that you went to Florida with Mr. Wade. That was the time that you said you stayed in Miami at the hotel the first night?
That's the time I told you I am not sure. So I'm not sure of 2 things. So I want to make sure that my testimony is clear. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the October trip. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the December trip. I just can't remember that. And I also don't remember, so that the record is clear, I don't remember if the necessity was as we got on the ship or we got off the ship. But I do remember there was a night spent in Miami because either whatever, I don't remember. But I think that there was a night spent in Miami.
That cruise is the one that you took in October, right?
Ma'am, if you have something to refresh my recollection, I'm intentionally trying to not be difficult with you, but I don't want to make up something.
That's a lie.
I know that on one of those 2 trips.
Listen, again, family, I saw this trial live and she's stating that she is not trying to be difficult. She was even being difficult walking inside the courtroom the way she walked in. Like she about 5 feet, you know, like a midget. Got me in here just because I'm trying to prosecute the president of the United States. We got Derek Hill, a newly subscribed member of the channel. Appreciate that, Derek Hill. Thank you for joining the family. We got Royal T saying they're going to have fun with her cross-examination. Indeed, they will. Derek Hill states that her law license is about to be cooked. I already said it. If Fani Willis has her job within the year, if Fani Willis have her job within the year, that means that the governor of Georgia granted her immunity or pardoned all of the charges. Chances are she's going to be out of a job within a year, man. That's just what it is. As we cross-examine her right now.
I am not sure right now. You're asking me about.
Oh, I'm sorry, you misunderstood. I was not asking you which night you stayed in Miami. I'm asking if you took a cruise in October 2022 with Mr. Wade.
Yes, and his mom.
And his mother. That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Is that the first time you met his mother?
Yes.
She answered her question. Good job, Fani. Good job.
I honestly don't remember what ship. I know we've taken 2 cruises. I don't know what the ships were.
But he paid for the flight and the cruise on Royal Caribbean that time.
So yes, he paid. He is the original one that does it. He has something called, Mr. Wade is a world traveler. I'm not as versed as him. He's been to 6 of the 7 continents. And so he has both a personal travel agent and he also has a cruise travel agent.
You see, again, oh my God. The prosecutors asked, Mr. Wade paid for the cruise and the flight. Fani could have said, yes, Mr. Wade paid for the cruise and the flight and I reimbursed him in cash. The end. You see how easy that was? Oh, well, Mr. Wade, he's a world traveler. He's been to 6 out of the 7 continents. And he has a personal travel agent for personal, and he has a personal one for the cruises that he takes. First of all, you're giving information about this man. They're not even asking. He got to worry about his damn self messing around with you, being sloppy and being nasty. Okay, loose lips sink ships. Everybody knows that.
I don't know anything about either of those kind of travel agents. So he is the one.
She asked you about travel agents.
But we need to be clear when we're talking about just because he booked it doesn't mean, like, I don't consider him having taken me anyplace. Let me just be honest. The only one that's ever taken somebody someplace is for his 50th birthday. I consider that I took him to Belize. And I took him to Belize because, I don't want to discuss his personal business, but I'm happy Mr. Wade is still here with us. And
Okay. This is what I'm talking about. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is what I'm talking about. She now divulged more information about a trip to Belize that wasn't originally asked about the trips that she took in Florida. Okay, loose lips sink ships, and she's given more information time and time again. She's either one, showing a very negative body disposition, the way she's responding to the prosecutor, even though the prosecutor, don't get me wrong, I'll tell you, I'm very impartial. The prosecutor was being semi or somewhat, predatorial, basically implying the entire time that you're guilty by the questions she was asking. But then again, you would think that being a skilled and intelligent DA of Fulton County, that you would know how to navigate those waters and not give more information than asked. Like, that's simple. It's like my son. He doesn't, when he tells fibs, when he tells lies, he tends to trip over his words. He tends to give me more information than I ask. I'm like, you're lying. These are school age tall tale signs of someone trying to either mask, hide, or some people say, well, you know what, the reason why she got that information, so she couldn't then go back and ask those questions because she already gave the answer in the information. Nah, something is off here. Something is very off here. And again, I want my sister here, Fani Willis, to become innocent. But even me, I cannot deny the fact that everything about it is telling me something different.
And I did 50 big, very big.
When it came to how Willis reimbursed Wade for the trips together, she responded she always kept cash on her, thanks to a tip she pointed out that she got from her father.
And then after that cruise, you all flew to Aruba and spent a couple days in a hotel there, correct?
Right, and his mother was not happy.
He
that we left her
initially
behind.
paid for that. He initially paid for that.
For Aruba, yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it.
And I want you guys to remember all the things that the prosecutor is laying out. You guys went to Aruba, you guys went to Belize, you guys went to Miami, Florida. Matter of fact, you went to Florida twice. One of them was Miami. You guys went to Nashville, right? She's combing out all these trips. Now, I don't know if they were lavish trips or how much they essentially spent on these trips, but they're public servants, right? She may get paid, I don't know, maybe being a district attorney, maybe $200 some odd $1,000, but they're going to comb in what type of car she has, her mortgage, clothes, how much she pays, and then the amount of money that Nathaniel Wade was getting paid. Was you guys using city funds? Was you using taxpayers? Like, all of these things are just adding up. That's why I'm so keen on not giving more information than the question requires.
Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there.
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does.
Okay. I was going to let it play, family. I just can't because, oh my God. I know she's smarter than this. I just know she's smart. I got to massage my brain. Give me a second. I know she's smarter than this because she asked her, when you paid Mr. Wade back, you paid him back in cash. And she said, yeah. And she said, did you go to the ATM? What the prosecutor was trying to establish is there's a record of you taking out this money and they can go find it. Okay. Because people keep, any transactions up to 2 to 5 years, depending on the bank. And it goes into a much larger archive that may even last 10 years. So since we're talking about 2022 and it's only 2024, there's a 98, 99% chance that they have a record of her taking out this money from an ATM, right? Because when you take out money from an ATM, if it's over a certain amount, you have to go on your bank app and you have to call your bank and you have to say, hey, I'm taking out X amount of dollars. It's me. You verify yourself, all that good stuff. You can take that money out the ATM, or you go inside of the bank. You can't just say, oh, I just have money. Well, doesn't Fulton County pay you direct deposit, meaning that your money is electronic deposit inside of a bank account? But if you had cash on hand, how did you get that cash? How long did you have that cash? How did you accumulate that cash? You see what I'm getting at? Now, when they first established, if you guys heard the whole trial, she was broke for a very long time, right? She didn't have all this money. Now, she could have stayed and say, well, I always kept 10 grand, regardless if I was, my house was up for a short sale or I couldn't pay my mortgage. I always kept $10,000. She could have stated that. Well, how did you get that $10,000? I saved that money throughout the years doing odd jobs and this, that, and the other. People paid me in cash. She could have even made that claim to fame. But what the prosecutor's doing is like, hey, you've been a district attorney, you've been a lawyer for this long. Have any of your employers ever paid you in cash? Well, no, they paid me direct deposit. Okay, well, they paid you direct deposit. How, over what time period was you taking out this money to save this alleged, thousands of dollars that you paid Mr. Wade back in cash? See what I'm saying? Like, they're setting her up to fall. And she not, again, I believe the sister's very intelligent, but she's been very, very, very dumb. Okay. Let's see. Derek Hill says, hold up. That means bruh has ever been to one of the polar continents. She's full of it. Polar continents, LO, Derek. Let's say Royalty states, yeah, they slow roasted her, but her emotions won't allow her to see it. Absolutely. For those that's coming inside, we're almost done here. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's carry on.
When we were growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house.
Had 3 safes.
Bought me a lockbox, and I always keep cash in the house. Now, I don't do it to the degree that my father would do it, so he would probably be ashamed with me, but I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to. I don't go on many dates, but when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
You've never given Mr. Wade money through Cash App.
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened at no.
See, that's that whole sister girl, that monolithic, stereotypical thing that people are going to paint Black people in general about family. This is about a bigger picture of how they're going to paint Black folk. She's like, that was cute. You said a little contract. And again, going back to the prosecutor talking about Cash App, the prosecutor is trying to find out, how can we track, how can we find these transactions to use as evidence? You see what I'm saying? But her and Mr. Wade, Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, were very airtight in talking about cash, because we all know there's forms of currency, okay? There's forms of currency that is untrackable, that is untraceable when there is not an electronic ledger, okay, that gives you the date, the time, any other information. That's like myself. I have gold. Gold can't be tracked. Now, gold can be tracked, stated that you bought gold from the, what's the website I buy gold from? The American Precious Metal Exchange, okay, Apex, the American Precious Metal Exchange, right? But also people barter and trade gold, and they don't do it through an electronic or a system or organization or whatever you call it, right? But I have gold and silver as well that has been given gifts, that we have traded. So there's forms of currency that are untraceable, untrackable, and that's why they're trying to figure out a way how to obtain evidence of her giving Mr. Wade this money, because then they can establish it was before or after the relationship occurred, and in the manner in which they stated was true or false. That is what's important here.
We're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid.
There it is.
And the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an.
And when she mean county, she means the taxpayers paid Mr. Wade large sums of money because he worked all these additional hours.
Answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about. So
just answer the question, lady.
Let her finish her answer.
If we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
Throughout her testimony, Willis maintained she was not the one on trial.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
You are on trial.
My question was, do you have any problem?
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
And I'm not dealing with privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review, and I just want to know if she has any
That's
problem.
not something you deal with a witness.
Willis said she and Wade's relationship ended, but the two remain friends and professional colleagues.
When did your personal relationship with Mr. Wade end?
Our personal relationship ended in this year. So let's be very clear so that we don't mix words. I don't want to mix words in here. Mr. Wade is my friend right now. Mr. Wade, I would say, has been my friend since 2020. I think he started out as like a mentor and a professional colleague. he became my friend and somebody that I really respected. I feel very indebted to Mr. Wade for taking on the task of this job. And he is certainly my friend and one of the people that I respect the most. So if you ask about a personal relationship, I consider myself to have a personal relationship right now, Mr. Wade. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Anna Cross. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Mr. Abadi. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Andrew.
This is what you call a tap dancing family.
Let me just clarify that.
I have a personal relationship with him as we speak right now. I don't think that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking.
When did your romantic relationship with Mr. Wade end? When did it end?
Me and Mr. Wade, we are good friends. My respect for him has grown over these 7 weeks of attacks.
When did you have a romantic relationship? When did that end with Mr. Wade?
But for these attacks, it would have been a friendship that as life goes, he would have stopped having. I think that you have cemented we'll be friends to the day we die.
Let's.
We just have a hand.
I can handle this. Say that. Let's have it.
She asked about a personal relationship.
She asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
Thank you, Judge.
Sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe me in.
Because he's a man.
About this is the
What?
Stop dating.
I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man, he probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. So that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
Willis testified she never disclosed her relationship with the Fulton County Board of Commissioners or anyone within Fulton County. She spent hours on the stand and throughout maintained that she did nothing wrong. The stakes are high.
So the thing with that family is that, again, I'm pretty sure she violated the Fulton County regulations and policies of dating a coworker or dating a subordinate. Again, she rambled on and never really answered the questions directly, which again has me to believe, not that she is, that there are some discrepancies in her examination and her questioning that she possibly, I don't know, that she lied on. And again, with her attitude, and when I mean attitude, there's good attitude, there's a bad attitude. She had a very bad attitude. And I think because she has this disposition of being a boss bitch, that she should have never been questioned. And she stated that, hey, I'm not on trial. You know, those people who try to steal the election in 2020 are on trial. Well, Fani, you are on trial, sis, and there's a better way to handle this, and you haven't been handling it very, very well. I said the only thing that I took from this trial, guys, is that the airtight of both of their examinations of dealing with cash, that was really good. Other than that, Nathan Wade, his testimony, he kept calm, other than some stumbling and some fumbling over words, which can happen. But Fani, that was a train wreck. That was a bombshell, family. She went about that totally wrong. She gave information. She did, Mr. Wade is a man, so he thinks the relationship ended in July. She said, she could have simply said, according to my recollection, the relationship ended in August of 2023. Then her father gets on stand. I'm not going to show that. I'm about to end here, family. I know it's pretty early. You guys need to get some sleep, or you're about to go to sleep, right? As she stated that her father told her to keep up 6 months, you know, of her paycheck or of her bills, like anyone else, but save that money in cash and put that in the safe. When her father got on stand, he didn't even use these terms correctly. Now, just to give you a quick synopsis of her father, he supposedly was a member of the Black Panther Party, and then stated that, you know, before the Black Panther Party came up on all these charges and COINTELPRO, he was no longer a member. He was doing some other Black empowerment stuff. But nonetheless, he said, Judge, not to be racist, I don't know how a Black person can be racist where we virtually don't have any power, right? We don't own any Fortune 500 businesses. I mean, again, that's a whole nother different video. But I don't know how a Black person can be racist. He said, Judge, not to be racist, but Black folk save money or have money on hand, have cash on hand. I don't know how you use Black, racist, and saving cash in a safe all in one sentence. I don't know how you can do that. That's more like a phrase, a paragraph, a paper, but not a sentence, not a statement. So there's just a lot of things. I'm pretty sure that Fani Willis, her father, Nathan Wade, got together and they collaborated their stories together to make sure everything was airtight. But other than that, family, yeah, that's my analysis, that's my breakdown. Okay, I don't know enough information. I don't know the vivid intricacies of what occurred, but just analyzing Nathan Wade and Fani Willis and the differences of how they answered the questions and how well they portrayed themselves on the stand. Nathan Wade, he gonna be okay. He gonna be okay, right? Because this is about Fani Willis. This is about Fani Willis, and they use Nathan Wade just to gather information, and Fani Willis used her dad as a scapegoat of the whole money thing, why she had all this cash on hand. But other than that, family, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Derek Hill. Thank you, Roy UT. All those who are watching me now from wherever you are, thank you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate you supporting the channel. Kenneth Warner, thank you for joining me too, brother. He says about Fani, if you guys are not subscribed to BlackLogic, please subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 50,000. I'm trying to reach this goal, family, so we can have a broader audience, so we can interact more. And I do read your comments after the video has ended. So if you have any comments, if you have any inputs, and here's the thing, family, I'm very impartial. Either be negative comments about the video clippings or the commentary or the context or me in general. I will respond, or check out some other videos I have. You guys have a great and wonderful day. And I wonder, does anyone know where I am right now? Because it's daytime. All right, you guys have a good one. Be one.